Strap in because we're about to dive headfirst into the wildest, most jaw-dropping NHL conspiracy theories that fans still whisper about. Let's kick it off with the 2011 Eastern Conference Finals between the Boston Bruins and Tampa Bay Lightning. Game 7. Not a single penalty call. You heard that right. In an entire 60-minute war on ice, referees somehow missed every foul. It wasn't because players were suddenly angels. No, the league was cooking something. Boston's Nathan Horton, who literally squirted water and threw a bottle into the crowd in Game 6, an offense that normally gets you benched hard, was not suspended. Why? Because he was about to score the game-winning goal in Game 7. Coincidence? No shot. The NHL wanted Boston, an Original Six team, in the finals for ratings. They let Horton play, then suspended him only after the series. And Tampa's coach? He straight up said, "I'm not allowed to comment on the referees." That's as close to, "this is rigged," as it gets in coach speak. Now swing back to the 1990s. The Tampa Bay Lightning had mysterious ties to the Yakuza. Yes, the actual Japanese mob. Team owner Takashi Okubo never attended a single game. His ties traced to Komodo Kakusai Green, a company notorious for shady investments in Japan. Even NHL officials had no idea who this guy really was. It wasn't a conspiracy, it was just an unspoken, high-stakes ownership circus flying under everyone's radar. Speaking of the circus, how about Vegas? The Golden Knights was an expansion team in 2017. In theory, expansion teams are supposed to suck at first. Instead, Vegas made the freaking Stanley Cup Finals in their debut season. Suddenly, they were miracle workers. But let's be honest, they were handed a dream team. The expansion draft was bizarrely generous. It was almost like the NHL wanted to make a splash in Sin City, a huge sports market with dollar signs dancing everywhere. Vegas paid a $500 million expansion fee, 6 times more than older teams. And guess what? They got a cup-ready squad to go with it. That's not luck. That's a payoff. But let's go back to a different golden child. Eric Lindros. Back in 1991, the NHL changed draft rules so San Jose, the expansion team, wouldn't get the #1 pick. Quebec did. They took Lindros. The following year, oh look, they quietly flipped the rules back. For 1 year, the rules magically shifted to keep Lindros in a market the NHL preferred. Sketchy? More like textbook manipulation. Then there's game management. The silent art of NHL referees rigging penalty calls to keep games balanced. One team racks up calls, you can guarantee the next penalty's going to the other side, whether it's legit or not. Ref Tim Peel got caught on mic in 2021 saying, "I wanted to get a penalty on Nashville early." Fired the next day. The NHL tried to sweep it as an isolated incident, but the stats don't lie. Penalties get evened out way too often to be a coincidence. The refs are literally keeping games close for entertainment value. This isn't a theory, it's math. Next is Sidney Crosby. In 2005, coming out of a full season lockout, the NHL needed a hero. Pittsburgh? Bankrupt, falling apart, threatening to relocate. Then boom, they win the lottery for Crosby with just a 6.25% chance. Was it televised? Nope. Just Gary Bettman walking out with an envelope. And suddenly, the Penguins, who would have vanished off the map, got the savior of the franchise. They went from bottom feeders to 3-time Cup champs with a shiny new arena. Oh, and that whole draft was the first one in decades held behind closed doors. Yeah, totally not suspicious. What about the infamous no goal in 1999? Dallas versus Buffalo, Game 6. Brett Hull scores the cup winner, but his foot's in the crease. A clear violation of NHL rules at the time. They spent the entire season disallowing goals for this exact thing. But when it's triple OT in the Stanley Cup final, suddenly the rule disappears. Buffalo fans lost their minds. The league rushed out a weak excuse. He had possession of the puck. Come on. That was a cup handed to Dallas because the NHL wanted a Southern team to win. Period. Also in 2015, The Connor McDavid draft. Edmonton had already won 3 lotteries recently. No way they'd win again, right? Wrong. They won with just an 11.5% chance. That's like rolling a die and getting a 6, 4 times in a row. Video evidence even showed fishy stuff, multiple ping pong balls entering the lottery tube at the same time. Seriously? If the league wasn't rigging it, they sure made it look like they were. And then there's the 2023 draft lottery for Connor Bedard. The Chicago Blackhawks, fresh off a horrific sexual assault scandal, somehow win the rights to draft the next generational player, again, with an 11.5% chance. Fans went ballistic. Even NHL insiders were stunned. A franchise in disgrace suddenly gets a fresh start. The league needed a distraction, and Bedard was the perfect one. Just days after the draft, the NHL announced future lotteries would be televised live. Wonder why?
Let's not forget the Wayne Gretzky trade, 1988. The best player in hockey gets shipped from Edmonton to LA. It stunned the world. But behind the scenes, there was one reason: money. Edmonton's owner wanted cash. LA wanted a celebrity. The NHL wanted the US to fall in love with hockey. And they did. Gretzky packed arenas and brought the sport to Hollywood. But the owners behind that trade? Both were later charged with financial fraud. So yeah, the great one got used in a great big scheme. And just when you think it couldn't get wilder, boom, PED cover-up. The NHL has almost no public steroid scandals. Players are stronger, faster, playing harder, and healing insanely fast. But nobody tests positive? Fans suspect the league either doesn't test hard enough or looks the other way to keep stars shiny and sponsors happy. Still hungry for more? Let's talk Maple Leafs. Fans believe in a Toronto tax. The NHL punishes them on purpose. Missed calls, no lottery luck. Because the Leafs make money no matter what, the NHL doesn't need them to win. So the league tilts the ice to help smaller market teams grow. Seems dumb? Then explain why a major market team like Toronto keeps getting shafted statistically year after year. And McDavid again, that 2019 crash into the post? Doctors feared a career-ending injury. The next thing you know, he's back in camp just months later, faster than ever. Some fans believe he was given experimental treatments that other players don't have access to. If the NHL lost its most marketable player, the whole league would take a hit. So the NHL allegedly bent its own rules to save its golden boy. Now the Canadian curse. No Canadian team has lifted Lord Stanley's Cup since 1993. Almost 3 decades. And don't tell Canadians that's just bad luck. Many believe the league wants to keep US markets thriving, shoving cup wins to non-traditional hockey cities. Florida over Edmonton? Vegas over Winnipeg? And what about playoff officiating? The deeper the series goes, the quieter the whistles get. Suddenly, blatant interference, cross-checks, and high sticks are missed by refs with the best views in the building. Overtime becomes the Wild West. No rules, just vibes. And oddly, these misses often favor the team trailing the series. Fans aren't imagining it. Analyses over the years have shown penalty calls drop significantly in the playoffs. Why? Many suspect the NHL loves the chaos of Game 7s. More games mean more ratings, more ticket sales, and more drama. Player safety? That seems optional in May and June. Then there's the LTIR cheat code, a loophole in the salary cap system that's become the NHL's worst-kept secret. The most notorious case? Nikita Kucherov in 2021. The Lightning's superstar sat out the entire regular season recovering from hip surgery, keeping his $9.5 million off the books. Then, just in time for Game 1 of the playoffs, poof, he's back and lights it up with 32 points en route to the Stanley Cup. Legal under the rules? Technically, yes. But to many, it's an obvious cap circumvention trick that gives stacked teams an unfair edge. Don't forget the mysterious puck tracking system that debuted in 2021. Designed to enhance broadcast data and player tracking, it vanished just weeks into the season. Why? Players complained that the pucks felt off. But critics say the league killed it too fast, maybe because the data revealed things the NHL didn't want fans to see. This sport isn't squeaky clean. Behind the hits, saves, and goals, there's a shadow game, one filled with hush-hush deals, secret agendas, and outcomes that just feel a little too